So today I decided to start a new series on this channel where I'll be going over the Senate elections and the gubernatorial elections, especially the ones that are hotly contested. So I'll do a more in-depth analysis of them rather than a just nationalistic view. When we look at the map in a whole prediction for the United States, we're going to talk about, like we are today, about the Maryland gubernatorial elections or a Senate race in Indiana or Missouri or North Dakota. We'll do a more in-depth scenario. And we'll just figure out the winner. Of course, these are going to happen after the primaries, so this one I'm doing premature before June 26th, but it is my home state, so I have a little bit more experience about speaking about this issue, but in the future videos like this, I'll be talking about primaries that already happened, like in West Virginia or Ohio, and we'll make predictions based off that. But today's first episode will be the Maryland gubernatorial election with the second most popular governor in the United States of America. So Governor Larry Hogan right now is poised to win the Maryland gubernatorial election come November 2018. But, this race has been increasingly getting closer. I mean, the poll numbers are dwindling for the governor, and Maryland is probably going to be one of those few states where the Republican incumbent may be extremely popular, but then again, it may be a backlash towards the president. States like Massachusetts and Vermont are turning away from that, even though they may be one of the most Democratic states in the union. They still aren't so keen as to giving up their Republican governor just yet, whereas Maryland might just be nearing that stage. So let's look at the candidates. So obviously on the Republican side, we have Governor Larry Hogan. But on the Democratic side, this is a big race. There are many people running in the Democratic primary. And the prominent frontrunner is Rushern Baker. I've met him twice personally. And he's the Prince George's County executive. So that's my home county. And the second runner-up, I guess, Ben Jealous, the former president and CEO of the NAACP. This is going to be a Clinton versus Sanders Democratic primary. Ben Jealous, of course, representing Bernie Sanders, endorsed by the man himself. Rushern Baker, not endorsed by Hillary Clinton, but endorsed by the stereotypical Democrats, people like Chris Van Hollen, who are in the establishment in Maryland, and he definitely outlines a lot more policies related to someone like Hillary Clinton. So in order to predict the outcome of the Democratic primary, we're going to go ahead and look at the Maryland primary results from the most recent election year. So looking at this map, Hillary Clinton easily defeated Bernie Sanders in the Democratic primary, 63% to 33%. We could easily see a Ben Jealous, at 33%, and then Rushern Baker at 63% yet again. The Clinton wave has pretty much taken over Maryland, and we really don't see a new progressive type Democratic Party in the state of Maryland, especially, and we won't see it for a very long time. The progressive movement in Maryland is very suppressed, not for a bad reason. I mean, Maryland does not have policies that work with what the progressives in the nation would like to do. Yes, it's a Democratic state, but it's also a moderate, more conservative Democratic state compared to states like Vermont or even a state like Maine, okay? These states typically have a little bit more progressive senators, progressive representatives. Maryland doesn't have that. I don't think we have a single quote-unquote progressive representative, and neither of our senators are considered progressives by many people. And Hillary Clinton easily defeated Bernie Sanders, and that should tell you a lot, especially looking at the counties Bernie Sanders won right here. He won by less than 2%. Okay, you go over to this county, he won by less than 5%, and this one, of course, around 6 to 7 point lead for Bernie Sanders, but that's just not enough to win him in a primary. If we go to areas that are more important, like we go to Baltimore County, Hillary Clinton easily defeated Bernie Sanders. You go into the city, Bernie Sanders lost, even horribly here. Anne Arundel County, Hillary Clinton, huge victory. You go to Prince George's County, my home county, 74% for Hillary Clinton. The Democratic primary is not going to go to, the Democratic nomination, is not going to go to Ben Jealous. There is literally no way he's going to win. And especially looking at this opinion polling so early out, Rushern Baker easily takes the early advantage, okay? Kevin Comentes, he recently died, which is really unfortunate. He died May 10th, and his running mate is now the governor, running for the governorship. But he was polling ahead of Ben Jealous. With him gone, Rushern Baker probably will be boosted up a little bit of numbers. His ideology did not really work with Ben Jealous, and they'll actually probably go to his running mate, but they'll still be dispersed amongst the Democratic candidates. When we're talking about someone like Alec Ross, at first I thought he would have a possibility of winning. He does have a few endorsements. However, he's a teacher from Baltimore, and that's not the type that is going to appeal to a number of these voters. Yes, he's from Baltimore, but winning Baltimore County doesn't win you the nomination. In fact, you're going to have to appeal to a lot of white Democrats in Maryland in order to win the nomination. Chris Van Hollen did it to beat Donna Edwards in the 2016 Senate primary here. She was poised to win, but she won the predominantly African-American counties, but the outskirts of the not as urban areas voted for Chris Van Hollen. He was made the nominee. So Rashawn Baker is probably going to win this nomination. He's taking an early lead. Looking at the 2016 primary results, Hillary Clinton easily defeated Bernie Sanders. We're not going to see a Bernie Sanders-type candidate win in my home state. And then we're going to go ahead and look back on to 2014 to see how Larry Hogan would do against someone like Ben Jealous. So first and foremost, Rashawn Baker is a minority, meaning he'll definitely drive up African-American support. But that's exactly what Anthony Brown was going to do. He was the lieutenant governor of Maryland, and he lost. And he was a minority. And he did bring up the African-American community, but they didn't vote for him. They definitely came out to vote, but they did vote for him by large numbers, but they weren't the numbers that Hillary Clinton won by. If we go ahead and look at the county she won, let's actually pull up 2014's election results in the counties between Larry Hogan and Anthony Brown. So if we're looking at the counties right now, Larry Hogan won all but 4 counties, and these are the predominantly African-American, predominantly minority counties. Compared to Hillary Clinton, where she won a couple more. So we're looking at a county like Howard. So Hillary Clinton carried 63% of the vote in Howard County, yet Larry Hogan was able to carry it with 51.54% of the vote. So Hillary Clinton definitely doing a lot better in the Democratic primary compared to what Anthony Brown did. And if we look at Baltimore County, roughly the same margins between Hogan winning over Brown to Clinton winning over Trump. 38% for the losing candidate, 38% for the losing candidate. This should be a predominantly Democratic area, but Larry Hogan was able to win it. And then we're going to look at another county, Anne Arundel County. Clinton was one of the first Democrats to win this. I believe she was the first Democrat to win Anne Arundel County since LBJ. She won 49% of the vote. We go to Anne Arundel. Larry Hogan carried 66% of the vote. So that was humongous. Prince George's County, Hogan got 15% of the vote. Not that good, but Trump only got 8%, okay? If we look again, go to Montgomery, Hogan carried 36% of the vote. Okay, Trump carried 19.7% of the vote in Montgomery County. And then we go ahead and go to Charles County. Hogan carried 46.91% of the vote, whereas Trump only carried 32.9%. So clearly Hogan he does better than a number of Republicans, and he's probably going to in 2018. He's much more popular now. His approval rating is nearing 70%, if not over 70% in some opinion polls. So we're going to see a Larry Hogan victory, and that's what I'm ultimately predicting. Larry Hogan is easily going to carry this governor election. If we look at the polls typically underestimate Republicans. Larry Hogan right now defeating the Democratic nominee, depending on who it is, in a generic ballot poll. Easily nearing some double-digit leads in some polls, or some narrow leads, but he's still in the lead. And this is a state like Maryland, one of the most Democratic states in the union, likely Republican, lean Republican, lean Republican. This should be safe Democratic if it was any other election year. Rashawn Baker, Larry Hogan easily beats him in almost every opinion poll, and right now he is the front runner. Keep that in mind. Ben Jealous as well easily defeats him in every opinion poll. Some minor candidates, not important, not as important, but again, Larry Hogan easily decimating all of them, all candidates, including generic Democrats, in a ballot poll. If we look at the hypothetical polling, of course, we have John Delaney, who's running for president now. Larry Hogan easily beat him. Tom Perez, chairman of the DNC, easily defeated by Larry Hogan. So that's extremely surprising. If we just look at these numbers, Larry Hogan is the clear victor in the governor's race in Maryland. So we're going to see how this ends up. I'm probably not going to change this prediction. I still believe Larry Hogan is going to win this race. I don't think it'll be by a 5 to 10 point margin as the polls are suggesting, but I still think he'll win more than he did in 2014 just based off his increased popularity. Yes, there will be a referendum against the president. Yes, there will be a blue wave, but it might not be enough to knock down this red pillar of Maryland. So just to recap yet again, Larry Hogan outperforms every Republican. That's almost every Republican that's ran in Maryland in a statewide election. And keep in mind that Rashawn Baker, not so popular even amongst PG County, is running for the governor's race, and he is the nominee. And right now he's currently losing to Larry Hogan by more than 10% in almost every opinion poll. So again, thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below. Comment down the next state you want me to do an in-depth prediction for. So thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below again, and I'll see you all tomorrow.